Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Last Word Music. And today, we got another banger here for you. We got myself, Dimitri, and Scotty. How we doing today, boys?
I'm doing good, man.
We chilling, Chuck. We chilling.
Absolutely chilling, man, because today we got another album review for you. We got Aminé's new project, Limbo. Now, if y'all don't
Yes,
know, we are all from PDX. We're all from Portland.
Shout
Got to
out.
support the local guy. Yeah.
Got a
Aminé's
record.
got a special spot in all of our hearts. So without further ado, we're just gonna get into it, man. We're just gonna get into it. So I kind of want to just go around in a circle, see how everybody felt overall. We'll dig into the nitty gritty stuff in just a little bit. But first off, overall, Dimitri, what'd you think of the album, man?
Amen. I listened to it when it first dropped, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been playing it pretty heavy on repeat. I've quite enjoyed this album for the most part. You know, a few misses, but I think overall it's probably his best body of work. I think it's better than
Agreed.
1.5, which is more of a mixtape, and I think it's better than his first album, Good for You.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I can give a little bit of background on Aminé, right? Like you mentioned, Chuck, he's from Portland, Oregon. He's 26 years old. And he blew up in 2016 with his hit single, Caroline, which you guys probably all heard,
Yeah.
right? Great song. And he kind of became famous for like this playful kind of upbeat vibe, which he continued on to, you mentioned already, his debut studio album, Good For You, in
Good For You.
2017, which he released off of Caroline, which is a pretty good record. Not a ton of variation or, like anything groundbreaking, but it had
Yeah.
some good songwriting, some good features and whatnot.
He definitely has like a unique style about his production and everything. I
Yeah,
feel like.
yeah. And then, like you
Personally.
mentioned too, in 2018, he followed it up with the mixtape 1.5, which for me had some nice bangers like Reel It In,
Yeah.
but overall wasn't that cohesive and, didn't really have an artistic message. Again, it was a mixtape, so
Yeah.
that's kind of the point
And-
of a mixtape.
And
Instead of an
I
album.
think the name, just goes to, show the purpose of the mixtape being 1.5. It's kind of like a stepping stone in between the two major.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And since 2018, he's been pretty quiet, honestly. I hadn't heard that much about Aminé, hadn't listened to too much music from him.
Not even like a feature here and there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Pretty
He's-
quiet. And
he's
then,
locked in.
just the other week, he dropped Limbo, kind of coming out of the blue again. And as, the title would kind of imply, right, like this sophomore effort sees Aminé kind of in a state of limbo where he's kind of like past, this kid who blew up with a hit song. He's past just like showcasing his talent. He's kind of at the point where he needs to like make an artistic message, make a real album. And he's kind of unsure of where to go from here. And I thought the record kind of displayed that with a lot of musical experimentation, as well as lyrically. He kind of, brought on messages and themes of growing up and reflecting back on his childhood and his journey to where he is now, kind of unsure of what his steps moving forward are. And I enjoyed the album. I thought it was a pretty fun process, and Aminé took us along for a overall pretty thorough ride. Like you said, Dean, there are a couple misses on here, which is natural considering he has such a different type of vibe with a lot of the songs. There's a bunch of different things that he tries out. Some of the songs remind me of Late Registration by Kanye West.
Right,
And he seems to even reference that himself. When he has bars where he talks about We Major. The song Mama seems like a reference to Kanye's Hey Mama.
Hey Mama, yeah.
Right?
But
There's
also
a lot
Tupac,
of stuff there.
he shouts out Tupac on that
Shouts
song
out Tupac,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And, but like you said, songs like Woodlawn are just kind of like more of your typical trap banger.
Trap.
And so, there's a bunch of different styles at play here.
Chuck, what did you think about it? I'm curious.
So first off, I'm just gonna give you my experience with Aminé. I've never really vibed with his music before. I mean, of course, everybody knows Caroline and Reel It In as like his mainstream hits.
Those are his
like,
hits, yeah.
But like, I never really like when I went and listened to his albums. I never really like vibed with it because I just can't get down with the style of production he uses. It's very jazzy, and I just don't think his particular style of rap works over that. However, I did very much enjoy this project. As y'all said, it was probably his best body of work.
Agreed.
And I thought some of the jazzy production that he actually did put on here, I don't know if either my tastes changed since I last listened to him, or he just got better as an artist and as a creator. But I did enjoy some of the jazzier styles of production, like the intro track.
Yeah.
what was it called? Burden.
Yes.
Yeah,
Burden. I thought that was one of the best tracks on the record, Chuck.
Same.
Absolutely. And that gave me Kanye West vibes right off the bat
Definitely,
with the
heavy.
descending vocal sample. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
heavy.
Definitely. It
Swing
gave me
guitar.
some college dropout late registration vibes.
Yeah.
I thought Roots with JID was
Definitely.
probably
Yep, we're on the same page here.
Yeah,
I like
probably
that
my
song.
favorite song.
my favorite song.
The one thing I will say is the JID feature, while I thought it was pretty nice, I don't think it was necessary. Honestly, when I heard the first verse from Aminé, I thought that was JID rapping.
Oh,
And then later, when I heard JID's verse, I was like, oh, okay, that's – so I thought it was almost like he pretty much filled the role vocally that JID did on that song, but again, I'm not really complaining because JID's verse wasn't bad or anything. It was just kind of like –
JID always clutches up with a good verse.
he's pretty good, for sure.
absolutely, man.
Yeah.
And I thought that probably the track with the most soul in it was definitely Mama, as Scott,
Yeah.
we
I
touched
can
on
see
it
that.
earlier. Definitely like praising his mom. And, it's kind of just like almost a stereotype that like rappers are just like, oh, I love my mama. My mama did all this for me on the come up.
It's a necessity.
It's a necessity, man. And he
gotta shout her
digs
out.
into like his own personal stuff because, every story is different. And he gave his side of, growing up in PDX and being involved in all the bad things that people are like
Prone
suburban
to.
kids suburban kids are prone to be involved in at a young age, and how he just what's the word I'm looking for, how he stayed true, and while he did get caught up in it, stayed true to his family and his mom, which I thought was a pretty powerful
For
message.
sure.
Yeah.
Very good song.
Yeah. I gotta, to talk about it a little bit, I gotta say I really respect the variation on the project, just even with production, because I know Aminé is he's very involved in his producing process with most of his songs, and I respect that a great deal. And I think to have a song like Burden on here and then go from that to like Pressure in My Palms, which was like
that sounded like a Brockhampton song, dude.
Yeah, it had a very like heavy bass, a really good feature from Vince Staples, I want to add.
Yeah, and Slow Tie as well.
And Slow Tie, yeah, it was super short, but I think it added a lot
but
to the song.
a super different vibe, like you said, from he has Young Thug on there, he has JID. Like those artists are very different.
Yeah, and
I was really digging Compensating too, and then Young Thug started rapping.
Yeah, Compensating was just all right. I didn't like the Young Thug feature.
Dude.
Yeah,
every time.
I think I Compensating was okay for me. I think I liked Can't Decide more than Compensating. They both gave me similar vibes. And dude, when Can't Decide came on and that like bass was like boom, it was just a vibe. It was wavy for me.
Yeah,
I messed with that song.
Absolutely.
And then the lead single off of the album Shimmy, I think is really good. Has some funny bars on it too.
Shimmy for me, I didn't like that much because it got a little repetitive after the first 30 seconds or so. Didn't really switch up or anything. But it wasn't like terrible. It wasn't like a least favorite track. It was just like all right.
It was all right. Yeah, I mean I liked it. It had some funny lines on there. Some playful wordplay, which I think Aminé is getting better at. Just
definitely,
which he matures as an artist, man. That's how it goes.
Another thing I think that is inspired to some degree by Kanye, which he clearly
there's clearly some inspiration there. Yeah,
definitely. But I just wanted to shout out that the album is really has a really wide appeal. I feel like, or it could reach to a lot of different genres or a lot of different people.
It's just so diverse, man.
Yeah.
It's like there's stuff on there for everybody. I mean, you guys know me. I'm not the biggest fan of like of lyrical stuff to an extent. But
Eminem, bro.
Stop, bro.
Lyrical
I said to an extent. I said to an extent.
Shitting on her because she has on my ex lax, bro.
Bro, why does every video we get
back baby
Chuck stands
Revival's a porterhouse, dude. It just is.
They can eat my flesh, and yes, I mean my penis. That's a bar.
You guys will just never be artists the way Eminem is an artist.
Bro. Oh my god, we gotta stop. Oh man, back to the actual album we're reviewing.
Back to Limbo.
Eminem review. Yeah, Limbo. Yeah, I think we can all agree that.
I thought Can't Decide was probably my favorite track off the
Yeah,
whole album.
I've been playing that a lot.
Especially in like
Yeah.
you guys talk about, oh, my computer's about to die, that sucks. In terms of like the title of the album Limbo and just like the overall theme of it, I thought Can't Decide was a very, very interesting song to throw in there,
Mhm.
because he's talking about, as you said, Scott, kind of like him trying to figure out how he wants to proceed as an artist, but then he's also in this song talking about how he wants to proceed as a man in his relationships with women, how he wants to
Yeah.
be viewed as a partner, if he wants to, fall in love and settle down, or if he wants to like just be a player and have one night stands and just like not really care about who or what he's doing at all. But
Yeah.
it's kind of this like internal battle with himself, and I thought it was really interesting to listen to that, especially
It's a much
because
more introspective Aminé
yes,
on the
Yeah,
record.
absolutely,
definitely.
because we hadn't heard
Definitely.
a much more introspective Aminé, or
Yeah.
at least I hadn't. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
and just to talk about, we have been praising the album a lot. It's not perfect.
definitely
Obviously,
not perfect.
nothing is. I think that record gets weaker in the second half. I think we can
Definitely,
probably
I got bored
agree.
in the second half.
I think Riri is not great for me. I think Riri was okay. I think Easy with Summer Walker
It
shouldn't have
was
been on the album.
no,
It
it was
was
bad.
kind
I
of
didn't like it.
R&B, not
I
really my vibe.
the one thing I'll say, Deem, is I disagree in the sense I think the last three songs were actually very strong, but I think in
Yeah.
the latter half of the middle of the album, it kind of dragged on a little bit,
So
like
like
you said.
Yeah, we
But
can
I
agree on
thought
that. Yeah.
I thought the final three songs, which were I think
Fetus, Mama,
Becky,
and
Fetus,
Becky.
and
Yeah.
My Reality.
Oh, My
Um,
Reality is really good.
My
Yeah.
Reality
yeah,
was good.
My
Yeah.
Reality with the uncredited outro from Daniel Caesar was a really
Yeah.
soulful verse. I really
Okay,
liked him
so
at the
it
end.
was Daniel Caesar.
It was
It
Daniel.
was Daniel. Yeah,
All
it
right.
sounded like him. It's hard to
Yeah.
tell. I looked it up.
I
I thought Becky was a really underrated song. That was one of my favorites on the
Yeah,
whole project.
Becky had a really
Um,
interesting just idea just around it. Him talking about the struggles of being in an interracial
for
relationship and
sure,
stuff like that, and how it
for
feels. So
sure.
it was
This
good
is
stuff.
a more mature Aminé, and listening to him kind of examine like the effects that racism has on his life. I mean, it's a very important topic, at least in the current state of the world that we're living in.
Definitely.
So to hear him give his thoughts, kind of like you said, dating someone who's of a different race than him, and seeing how this affects him, I thought he really came off emotional and was able to convey like the frustration and anger, but also kind of like sadness that he had in kind of like his detached vocal performance. It was put through a little bit of like a audio fixer, his voice, and it
Yeah.
came off
Basically,
cold.
yeah.
And I really liked that. I thought the instrumental was strong in that one. Fetus with Injury Reserve. I like
Yeah.
Injury Reserve.
Underrated feature.
Yeah, they're nice. Arizona rap trio. But I also thought, again, just him talking about kind of like what it would be like to have a kid and like how his lifestyle would affect this kid that he would raise, and like how he thinks the world would impact, a child that he had, really thinking about the future and thinking about the implications of his decisions on the people around him and perhaps a child. I thought was a really cool, mature side of Aminé that we haven't really seen. And Chuck, you mentioned before how
Yeah.
generally the album just has like a variation musically, production wise. And I think, like you said, Dean, the album isn't perfect. That's one of the things that kind of holds it back from being a great record. Is I enjoyed the experimentation and him kind of being in limbo and testing out all these different things. But, like you said, when you're trying so many different things and you're not really sure of he's discovering his sound. He's not sold on it yet. And so, like you mentioned, it results in a couple of misses on songs like Woodlawn and, a couple other ones. The Compensating with Young Thug, Easy with Summer Walker.
Yeah.
So you kind of get this up and down vibe. But when he hits, I think he hits really well. And on this record, there's more hits than misses. So that's why I enjoy it.
Definitely. I think we can I think we can kind of wrap up with our out of 10 rating here on what we feel or how we feel about the album. I'll go first. I gave the album an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Mainly just because I knock it a point for not really as much as I can agree with the album, the idea of the album being that he's in limbo and he's trying out a bunch of different production styles. I am gonna knock it that it's not a consistent listen all the way through in the way
for
that
sure.
like Late Registration is. I know that's a lofty bar to meet, but like
Yeah. No, I get you.
Like
I get
similar,
you.
just albums that have a similar, single sound all the way through.
Yeah. Feel you.
And then I'm gonna knock it for the few songs that I didn't like on here. But I can also attribute that to just him experimenting.
I'm trying to find a sound, man.
Yeah, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I really like Aminé's production. I think there's a lot here for a bunch of different tastes. Maybe not the whole album, but I think you can come to this record and at least come away with
You can
I
at least
feel like
find
2 or 3
one
songs
song.
that you're
Yeah.
really gonna like.
Yeah.
If you trap, old school Kanye style, whatever.
Even apparently R&B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like it, not my thing, but yeah.
Chuck, what'd you give it?
I give it a 7.
Okay.
I mean, as I said earlier, like Aminé and me just never really clicked and hit before. But this one I actually found myself like excited listening to, and I could get through it without ever really being bored up until like Riri and Easy hit. That's kind of where I got in the hole.
Yeah.
And then Mama hit, and I was like, okay, we're getting back into it. But as you said, Deem, the versatility with this project was very, very fun to listen to. Definitely something like anyone can pick a few songs out of and add to a playlist. I think my biggest thing was that, me being, I can't believe I'm about to say this, me being an Eminem stan, I'm very used to consistent production all throughout
Revival.
the album.
Extremely consistent, man.
Okay. The one thing about Revival is that the production actually is consistent on Revival. It's just
Consistently trash. It's horrible.
All right. Let's bring it back.
It's like
let's bring it back to Limbo, bro. Let's bring it back to Limbo.
See, I knew I was gonna get.
We got to do a Revival review. Look out for that someday. Classic review. We'll call it a classic review.
No, not someday. That's coming.
It's a porterhouse.
Coming in a week, man. That's coming
in
a week.
Yeah, we'll call it Porterhouse review.
We'll start a new segment for all the best records. The porterhouses. You're talking your Revivals. You're talking Nav.
Nav. Yeah.
He belongs on there.
We'll get to that.
All the best. All the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. We'll do Kid Leroy's project, and then Porterhouse is coming out after that.
Sir.
Yeah. So overall, man, from what all I said, it's just like I could appreciate what he was trying to do. The overall symbolism was not lost on me. I appreciated the tracks in there that were referencing his Limbo topic, but overall, it's just like it wasn't in the upper threshold. So that's why I gave it a 7.
All right.
Yeah. So I was kind of right between you guys. Sounds like we all had the same general feelings on the record. It was just more of like, Aminé wasn't as much Chuck's style as Dean, so you gave him a 7 where you gave him an 8. I was torn right between you guys. I gave him a 7.5. I don't know if that's cheating, but I couldn't really decide between a 7 or an 8.
Mine was
honestly later.
It was either a 7 or a 6.5, and I went with the 7 just because I liked it more than a 6.5. So
yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, I think that kind of wraps up the review. Let us know how you feel about this album, how you feel about Aminé in general. Let us know if you're excited for our upcoming reviews of greatest of all time albums. We'll call it.
And to clear it up, the Kid Leroy review, I haven't listened yet, so I don't know. I'm going to listen tomorrow.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the Kid Leroy review is not. That's not a porterhouse review.
That's just a regular review. Just a new release.
I listened to it personally. It's not as quite a porterhouse as Revival. So
yeah, we'll get to the Kid Leroy very soon, and we'll start some GOAT album reviews coming up very soon. Look for Reckless by Nav, possibly something along those lines.
Reckless.
One of Ghana.
Like, subscribe, comment how you feel about the album, favorite tracks. You guys know the deal. This has been The Last Word.